Hello and welcome. Today is it's been a weird day. Had a bunch of friends over. They just left. We were hunting for working socket A systems. That is 462 for those of you who aren't super familiar, and the original Athlon and some Athlon XPs would have gone in that. I have too many, so I just got done with the glorious goodness of finding a working AGP card that didn't have a bad fan. So there's a bit of a mess, and I do apologize about that. But while I clean, and by clean I mean put things just out of frame of the camera, let's talk about a few things, because I have a couple of very big projects going on, and, well, I'm very excited, and I can't shut up about it. My friends hate it. So, number one, the box that used to be up here above the CRT, I finally opened it. I've had that box for like 3, maybe 4 years now. Possibly 5. No, 4 years-ish. And the thing is, I thought what was in there was just this. This was and I do mean was, a Supermicro X9 of some sort. X9 SRH-7F. A really good workstation board. It's basically X79. So I have or at least I think it had a Xeon E5 2697 V2, so 12 cores, 24 threads. Not bad, even by today's standards. And it had 128 gigs of DDR3, but number one, the person somehow managed to destroy the CPU fan. I think they mentioned it to me, and I just don't remember how they did it. I think it might have gotten caught in the fan there, and this fan spins very fast. Unfortunately, this motherboard is dead. So when I sold it to them, and it died, I was the nice guy and gave them their money back. They shipped me back the board, and I mean, what use do I have for a dead X9 board? I had, at the time, dozens of them. So I didn't bother opening the box. I should have. They didn't cheat me out of anything, except for maybe the RAM, because there's definitely not 128 gig of RAM in this. But they did include a, who makes this board? I mean, it's a dual slot 1 board of some make. I can't find a brand on here. Anyway, yeah, dual slot 1. It was just in the box, along with 2 Pentium 2s. This is kind of funny, because I was looking for a dual slot 1 board for a series of videos that is coming up. Luckily, I got 2 of them in the form of this Dell 690 and the Precision 220, which is around here somewhere. Anyway, yeah, I really wish I had opened this before. This is fantastic. This might even be an Intel reference board. Yeah, there's no identifying marks on this at all. Anyway, let me set this off to the side where it actually will be safe. I don't want that to go bad. Looks like we got some other stuff related to the board. But, yeah, I should have opened that a long time ago. Anyway, we'll get to this HP. Don't worry. This is not the focus of... That's DDR2. Why did you include DDR2? He's never going to watch this. Okay, oh. That had thermal paste on it and was stuck to the table. Cool. Okay. So, today, what I want to do is I want to, number one, kind of preemptively go over some of the really awesome plans we have for this series of videos. And I do mean series. Potentially up to a dozen videos. But more importantly, I want to establish some rules. You see, oh, that is filthy. I'm doing some videos. I don't know where to put this. You see, I'm going to be doing videos on the history of high-end desktops, HEDT specifically. And the thing is, there isn't really a great... Oh, this goes with that board. There really isn't a great definition for HEDT. If you look it up, you will get a definition, but although the definition is there, it's bad. You see, there is a ton of overlap between workstations and HEDT, and even amongst that, there's even more overlap with server parts. And a lot of HEDT platforms in the past and in the present have, and still do, use server chipsets. So use that as you will. I mean, Skulltrail is my best example of this. Skulltrail was a dual socket 771 advertised as HEDT system that used a server chipset and FB DDR2, which was basically server and high-end workstation only. So I'd say that's a pretty heavy overlap for those systems. So when we cover HEDT, I have to establish... Okay, I have to establish some rules. Otherwise, it's just going to look like the Wild West out here, and believe me, there is a method to my madness. Rule number 1. To be considered HEDT... Oh, that's heavier than I thought it was going to be. Whew. Okay. To be considered HEDT, a system must have either 16x PCIe or AGP. This is, we're going to be covering the last 25 years of HEDT, so we will be dipping into AGP, but if it doesn't have either of those two, it's not HEDT, because you can't really put a high-end graphics card in there. Rule number 2. It must have been purchasable by just standard people. And by that, I mean you needed to be able to go to a retailer that you could just walk into or go to their website and purchase something without needing a business account. That's pretty big, because some of the high-end workstations that do overlap with HEDT did require a business account in order to purchase those workstations. This also eliminates a lot of entry-level and mid-range servers that were in tower cases. So that does narrow things down quite a bit. Next, these, what I'm going to be considering HEDT, must fit in a standard desktop tower case. It doesn't have to necessarily be a completely standard part. This is especially for like OEMs. I mean, an Alienware motherboard's probably not going to fit in a regular case because Dell's like that, but it still has to be a standard desktop. No rack mount cases. And finally, it must have used or been able to use a standard operating system while still maintaining all of its functionality. What I mean by this, and the best example I have, I just put on the ground. Let's take the 90s. A dual Pentium 2 system was purchasable at a standard retailer, did have, most of the time, a standard AGP slot, and used standard parts, and you could get them in a standard case. But you couldn't just slap Windows 98 on there. You would not get the most of your system. You could only use one CPU with Windows 98. You needed Windows NT, which was not a consumer operating system. That was for professionals. That was for servers. That was specifically aimed at the workstation market. To be HEDT, it needs to use a consumer version of Windows. And yes, I know I just said Windows. Linux has been, and mostly was always an option, but we're talking consumers here. Someone who just walks into a store, buys something, goes home and plays games on it. very, very fast games at fancy graphics, but they're not going to be buying, or at least back then, wouldn't have been getting Linux for that. So we're not counting Linux in this particular set of videos, even if nowadays it is a darn good option. So those are my rules. Where did I put that little knife? There it is. If it follows those rules, it is HEDT, which means dual Pentium 2, dual Pentium 3, completely off the table. But dual Pentium 4, which, yes, it did exist. I have one right there. And I actually have one right here as well. Ta-da! Dual Pentium 4 is an option because Windows XP could work with up to 2 sockets at full bandwidth. So we're counting it. Now, let's go ahead and dig into whatever this is. This is a donation from someone. Looks like it came straight from Amazon, so I don't need to worry about doxing anybody. Let's pop this open. What do we got? I see a Logitech. Is this keyboards? Hey! Oh my god. Okay. There are 4 wireless keyboard and mouse combos. This is super awesome. I'm still a pretty big fan of using... I don't know what to do with that. I'm still a pretty big fan of using wired keyboard and mice for my own particular, setup here. Mostly because I will knock stuff off and or lose the dongle. But I will probably keep one of these for use around here as long as I don't lose it. And these are excellent to go with donation PCs. I really appreciate this. Who sent this? There's no... there's 4 of them. That's fantastic. The Logitech Comfort MK345. Whoever sent this, I really appreciate you. This is huge. Thank you so much. I'm usually... I go to thrift stores all the time, and I purchase as many keyboards and mice as I can find for donation PCs. This is massive. So I really do appreciate you. This lets me give away something that isn't, like, grimy or 25 years old. So you wouldn't believe how many PS2 keyboards I've had to give away because I just ran out of USB ones. I appreciate it. Elmo, was this you? Whoever this was, I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Next, we will look very briefly at the subject of today's video. Not this. Not this. I just needed a box to store those in. But this. The subject of today's video is a system and grody mouse that I got for free in the trash. We've got a cooler for a Dell with the mounting brackets for it, but no screws. That's great. It's a Dell motherboard with the I/O shield. That's pretty cool. Looks like it would have come out an Optiplex, maybe GX280. We have a Pentium 4 2.8 gigahertz with an 800 megahertz frontside bus in the LGA 775 socket. We've got PCI Express 16X. And despite the fact that this is a filthy board, I don't see any bulging capacitor. Oh, nope, I was wrong. There's one right there. And there's one there. Why did I do that? Let's do it again. I don't know why I did that. Okay. So. Oh, there's another bulging capacitor. Oh, no. Anyway, we will be attempting... Wait. This has the proprietary Dell CPU fan connector that's a 5-pin. This may not work. I don't know if I have any Dell fans. Hey, if you guys want to send me some crappy old fans from crappy old Dells, my P.O. box is in the description below. For projects like this, I could use them. So let's pivot. Because, clearly Clearly, I wasn't actually intending to do anything with this. I didn't have big plans for the system. Don't worry about it. No, I actually did, so that kind of sucks. But that's okay, because we have this. This is an HP Compact Pro 6300 micro tower. Cool. I'm 90% sure that this is going to have like an i3 2120 in it or something similar. It's nothing fancy. It is a basic PC, but I have a friend who is in need of a PC right now, and they need something that can run Windows XP because, oh, come on, you little, there we go. He's trying to rescue old photos, I think, of his mom? I don't actually remember, but he's trying to get old photos and old music off of some old drives or something. He needs XP to do it. It's not working under Windows 10. He did try. And rather than be like, oh, yeah, I'm sure you're just doing it wrong, which, I don't know, maybe he is, maybe he isn't, I'm just going to build him an XP machine. We've got a generic 2 terabyte white label hard drive that I bought myself for about $45 a couple years back. I bought this for the NAS that I built for my parents for Christmas. And the reason it's not in that NAS is because although I very much wanted it to be, something's weird with this drive. If you plug this into the system, the serial number is all zeros. The runtime is just an empty blank field with a bunch of like symbols in it. So it was supposed to be new, but this is not a new hard drive. I wasn't going to trust it enough to give it to my parents for, critical data, but it's probably just fine for this particular use case. So we're going to use that 2 terabyte hard drive. Also, we have this. This is a GeForce GTX 645. This is an OEM-only card. I friggin' love these cards. These are excellent for the donation PCs that I give away all the time because not only do they have an analog-capable DVI port, but they also have HDMI, and that is humongous for the people that I give away these PCs to because most of the time they don't have like regular monitors. They just have their TV, and their TV doesn't usually have VGA. So we're going to stick this in here. It's an HP. You slap it in, you close this, and it's in. Other than that, this is one of those $5 systems I bought down in Des Moines quite recently. And, we're about to find out what it is. I don't even know if it works, to be honest. I can see that it has RAM. So here we go. That's the graphics card in. Now, let's temporarily go ahead and use pretty sure I have a DVI to VGA adapter right here somewhere. There it is. Oh, I know it was right around here. Alright, let's see if this card works, because I bought this on eBay and didn't test it, and now it's past its return window, so, well, standard stuff for me. If this has an i3 2120, we will not be upgrading it. And the main reason is an i3 2120 is still pretty overkill for Windows XP. You don't need more than that. It's cool if you can have more than that, but you don't need it. So let's get this plugged in. We don't have the drive plugged in yet, but I need to find my flathead screwdriver, and oh boy, I've got to clean. So let's see. I suppose I should get some power for it. Let's see if it works. Whew. Pretty nasty sounding. Well, it just turned off. That's the DVD drive making that noise. Hey, it works. Okay. Obviously, we still need to, get a hard drive in here, but let me find my flathead screwdriver, and then we'll go ahead and get that done. Pretty sure it's underneath all of these socket A motherboards. Ugh. I gotta organize. Bad. Now I could pretend, whatever I do pivot to, I could pretend that I had, definitely originally planned to do that in the video, but I think it's important to keep things authentic. So what you see is what you get. Now, which ones do I want to put this in? Okay. I just don't like pretending that nothing ever goes wrong. So, but hey, if you want to help me with that Dell, again, P.O. Box is in the description below. All I need is one of those 5-pin Dell fans from the early 2000s. Well, early to mid 2000s, like 2004 to 2005. I suppose the question is, what should I pivot to? Since this isn't going to be the core of the video. We're not going to be building this to game on. This is going to a friend. And I told him it would be ready tonight. So I've got about an hour or so to get this done. So I don't think I've got time to fully benchmark it. And I have a dozen systems just like this. We can benchmark another one some other time. So let's get our hard drive in. Preferably not upside down. Silly me. There we go. Okay. There's our drive. Here we go. Our iOD ST300 will be our installer of choice for Windows XP Service Pack 3. Let's get this going. I don't think I want to put the side panel on yet, but I will. Ugh. Do I have to blow out this computer? I probably should. Not the worst I've ever seen, but that's pretty bad. Oh. Yeah. It's pretty bad. Okay. Good enough. Let's see if it works. Whew. Give me that keyboard. Suppose I should select. Okay. I think F9 is our boot key. Okay, it's not seeing the iOD ST300, which cool. Let's grab a different PC. I'm not looking to troubleshoot for 6 hours. This is not the video I want to make. Although, I think I have figured out what we're going to pivot to. Oh, shut up. I'm sure that's fine. We have this Inspiron 531. I don't like the 531. I've had a lot of these explode on me, including that one right there. So, I don't know. but maybe it'll be fine. It's missing the power supply, which is always a good sign, you know. It's also kind of sticky. I don't know. I think this was given to us by Bradley. Oh yeah, that's right. This is the AMD one. I want to save this for later, because this is a weird system. The 531 was usually Core 2 Duo. Okay, well, we're not using this one yet. Okay, here's another Inspiron 530. Got this one for $5. And pretty sure the guy said that it was dead. So let's have a super quick look. If it's fixable, that would be awesome. If it's not, we'll figure something out. Looks like standard grossness, standard micro ATX. This doesn't even have a custom power connector. Hey, this is actually not a bad looking system. There's no DVD drive. He needs a DVD drive, but that's okay. We have plenty. Let's see if it powers on. Get our keyboard connected. For the moment, we're just going to use onboard graphics. Oh, I forgot to grab the video card. We'll figure it out. That and power. Now, the last time I powered one of these on, it violently exploded. And I was told this is a dead system. Well, it's certainly acting like a dead system. But we'll give it a second. Do I see any bulging capacitors? Surprisingly, I don't see any bad caps. So let's... Oh yeah, she's dirty. Okay. Let's all that stuff that I complain about, the dust getting in the air and setting off my allergies. Let's do it again. Yeah, it's great. Okay, we have a non-posting system. I'm going to pull a couple sticks of RAM, see what we've got. I can see two different types. We've got some Kingston. The other one's stuck. Kingston 1 gig, 2 rank by 8. That might actually be our entire issue. These systems do not like... Oh god, there's more! There's more dirt in here. The RAM slots are dirty. That might be it too. Let's give it another crack. Okay, we've got... The other ones are half gig sticks, and for XP, I think we're just going to stick with the half gig sticks. That'll give us a grand total of 1 gigabyte of RAM. Now these are not matching sticks for the other ones. They're a different ranking and a different speed. So that very well could have been our issue. Someone's been in here before. They broke the RAM hold down. That's not ideal. Come on. I don't know if that's going to hold it down or not, but we'll see. Let's unplug it, give it some power, and see if that is enough to bring it back to life. Yes, it was. That's all it needed. You just put the wrong RAM in it. Okay. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, 2 rank by 8 does not play well with older Intel systems. CMOS checks and failure. So we got a bad CMOS battery. Not a big deal. What CPU do we have? We have a Core 2 Duo E6550. Hey, that's not bad. 1 gig of RAM, dual channel. Perfect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull that BIOS battery, because that, although not super imperative, is something that I'm sure he doesn't want to deal with. Get out of there. You kidding me? The whole holder just came off. That's... Someone really messed things up in here. This is a new BIOS battery. Can't I just have a working system? What do? Do I just... Really? That is not something I'm going to tackle today. I really should be cutting this all out of the video. I'm sure it's not the most fun to watch, but this is the truth. This is how things work sometimes. The HP system, I could just throw my XP optical disc in there, my XP CD, and we could have XP installed in a slower time, but a time. For this, I could just ignore the BIOS battery issue, and it would be fine. He would just have to press F2 to skip it every single time. What else do I have? I wonder if... No, he could probably use like a card reader. I think I've got something down here under all these power supplies. If he's going to be getting old pictures off of stuff, I bet you he'll probably like a card reader. I think this one has one. Oh yeah, that RAM thing. This was... No, I wanted to look at this separately. This is something Bradley did. What else do I have? This one's a 6200 Pro. So, a slightly older revision, but really doesn't matter. All that means is the 6300, I believe, is compatible with the 3rd generation Intel Core i series. So i7 3770, that kind of thing. While this one is 2nd gen only, and it has no RAM. Oh, that's not good. Has a hard drive. What kind of hard drive is this? We're looking at... Ooh, 250 gigs. Wow! Let me go pull that hard drive and graphics card out of that one, because I kind of need to reuse those. This will let me look at the RAM, because I don't actually know what it was. Oh! Hey, these are 4 gig sticks. XP doesn't need that much. Let's throw in some 2 gig sticks. We'll bring it up to 4 gigs. And I can reuse these 4 gig sticks elsewhere. It has finally gotten warm enough for me to take off my jacket. Now let's go ahead and get this BIOS battery replaced. Not because I know it's bad, but because I expect it to be bad. So, and if it isn't bad right now, it probably will be bad soon. So, new BIOS battery. I forgot to grab some 2 gig sticks of DDR3. Let's get this installed and done. Now, again, I want to clarify, he doesn't necessarily need 2 terabytes, but if he's harvesting data from old PCs and old flash drives, old cameras, it doesn't hurt to have some extra space. So, there's that. Aha. Hour 6:45. Now this system appears to have a parallel port card. Huh. I'm going to keep this. He doesn't need that. So let's get our graphics card installed. Oh great, this has the Finger Slicer 9000. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what the heck I'm talking about, the Finger Slicer 9000, very thin piece of metal, designed to be kind of like a grounding strap. It is 100% unnecessary and 100% ready to slice you open. And I really don't want to bleed for this particular PC. This already has a stick of RAM in it. You know what? No, I'll take it out. This is a single 4 gig stick. Let's give it 2 gig sticks, so at least it'll have dual channel. We'll try these 2. I mean, hell, they're both HP part numbers. They're just not the same speed. And ideally, you would have the same speed. But also, in theory, this system will run at whatever the slower speed is, if we even have, XMP running, which we probably don't. So, get our handy dandy adapter here, get these things plugged back in. Watch, we're going to get this all set up and it won't even boot from the ST300 anyway. What we don't get a display is what we don't get. Oh. Or it'll power cycle. It worked with onboard graphics. Is it just unhappy about the graphics card? Or is it the RAM? I changed too much at once. Don't do what I do. Okay, so we're booted in. Okay, so it fired up without the graphics card, of course. Let's see if we can get into the BIOS. It's possible that it's set to onboard only, and we just need to change a BIOS setting. Let's have a look. First, let's make sure that this is running in 4 gigs, dual channel. Perfect. I think that's under advanced. We're going to do onboard devices. Nope. Device options. Hyperthreading's on. Let's stick our video card back in. No. Okay, new plan. We are going to... New plan. We're going to ignore the video card. We're just going to use onboard graphics. He's just using this to transfer data. He's not playing games on it. Like, if he wants to play around and maybe try to get that working, he's welcome to. But this is not what I want this video to be about. I just want to get Windows XP installed, let him know it's done, and then send it out the door. So, let us make one final attempt to get that done. Yeesh. It shouldn't be this hard. We know the system posts like this. Let me go ahead and put the side panel on. We'll figure the rest out later. This one also doesn't see the ST300. Okay. It's possible that I grabbed the wrong cable for this. If this works, I'll be... Oh my god, it does work. I can't really blame anyone else, but I also can't take the entire blame myself. You see, we've had a lot of stuff going on in our apartment over the past week or so, and during that week, I borrowed one of Olive's USB-C cables. And she really needed another USB-C cable to charge her phone in her car, so I grabbed the one from the iOD, I think. And because of that, I couldn't actually find one for the iOD, so I grabbed just a random USB-C cable lying around, which I believe probably came from the dollar store and is power delivery only. This USB-C cable is a very high-quality USB-C cable that I paid a lot of money for. And I think this one is going to live with the iOD, or maybe I'll pick up another one. I'm not really sure. I usually use this one to transfer things from my phone to my PC, including videos when I record them from my phone, so kind of don't want to lose it to the iOD, but at the same time, it's working. So, with that said, this is probably where we're going to stop with this PC. I'm going to keep installing Windows in the background. I'll let my friend know that it is ready to go once... where did I... Is it still in my pocket? No, it's over there. No, it's over here. Once we're on the desktop, I'm just going to use Snappy Driver Installer to install XP's drivers and all that stuff. We'll be good to go. He'll be good to go, and we can finally move on to what I actually want to do this video. Okay, we are done getting Windows installed and all the drivers done. Let's go ahead and shut this down. I forgot this had a speaker built in. Okay, that speaker's in great shape. Anyway, while we wait for my friend to show up, who I probably am not going to have on video, but, you know, we'll see what he thinks. Let's go ahead and get this stuff shuffled off to the side. And this, I'll probably just set on the floor. I keep kicking that stupid plug. Whenever this turns off, I just gotta... Only the highest quality stuff. We are Low Spec Action Squad for a reason. And that's not because I choose the low spec life. The low spec life chose me. Oh dear. I think that this battery's probably dead, so we're going to sit it there where I can forget that it's dead and use it later and find out that it's dead again. Oh. On to the main event. I have had this sitting back here for a while. Oh! This is a weird machine because it is a planar display wall computer. I don't want to shatter my table. So this is something that you would have gotten if you had purchased a display wall from Planar back in the day. We're talking like 2009, 2010, give or take. So the thing is, it is completely not proprietary. If I can get this incredibly long screw out of the back. Why don't you come a little closer and have a look at what I found inside this machine? Well, here we go. Ready for this super totally custom proprietary, not at all commodity hardware? Oh, actually, you can't see very well, can you, because of that bar? Let's see. Once I find a spot to set this side panel, can we remove this? I need to clip the... Oh, here's my clippers. Clip this. Probably that. And this. There we go. What we find ourselves in possession of is a completely bog standard, like, desktop setup. This is a ASUS M4A 89GTD Pro / USB 3. We're looking at, I believe, an AM3 system, mostly based on this, and the fact that it has USB 3, maybe AM3 Plus. I know that this graphics card is a GTS 450, and I mean, everything else is just normal stuff. So this did come with two 1 terabyte hard drives in RAID 1 using software RAID, which is, you know, the greatest. But yeah, I mean, we've even got an LSP Ultra 750 watt power supply. This is number one. This system does not need a 750 watt power supply, and number two, this is just an ATX power supply. This has nothing to do with server stuff. They just took a desktop PC and slapped it in a rack mount case. Yeah. Get some of these things out of here. Looks like... I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. I don't know why the graphics card is down here and not in the top slot, but whatever. What is this? VGA switch card? Please keep this switch card on the PCIe 16 one slot. Only remove it if you want to install other devices. What? Okay. Well, I've never heard of that before. That must tell the system... What? I don't know. Anyway, I can't really power this up right now because the hard drives are gone. That was mandatory in order for me to get this machine, but look at this. This is kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a couple of 1 terabyte hard drives, slap them in exactly as it would have been. Now this originally had Windows 7 on it, but we're going to go ahead and... How much RAM do we have? Oh, these stupid low-profile DIMMs. These are 4 gig sticks, meaning we have 8 gigabytes of RAM. That could easily be upgraded to 16 if we needed to. What CPU do we have under this awful flower cooler? That is, was glued to the CPU, basically. Oh, that definitely needed to be replaced. Where's my rags? Someone sent in some rags. Yes, here we go. So this has been repasted at some point in its lifetime. The original gray paste is still there, but this disgusting white, can only assume silicone-based thermal paste is in its place. We have a Phenom 2. Huh. Phenom 2 110? I don't know how to read the old Phenom 2 codes, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and clean off this cooler. We'll put some new paste on. throw the cooler back on, and fire it up into the BIOS and see what we've got. I'm torn between installing Windows 10 and Windows XP. I don't really want to do 7, even though that's what this would have come with. Wow, this is a really crappy cooler. Like, for any Phenom 2, that really doesn't seem like it's enough, but I mean, Planar shipped it that way. We've got this thermal paste within reach, so we're going to try and use it. This stuff's pretty dry. I don't know, maybe it'll work. I'm sure it's fine. I hate these flower-style coolers, but we'll see what we get. Now this GTS, this might be a 250 actually. Let's find out. Let's get our keyboard plugged in. And we have, the reason I think it might be a GTS 250 is because it has 2 DVI ports. I'm not that familiar with the 450 series, even though I really like them. So I don't know if the 450 had dual DVI. That seems like an older standard. Grab my keyboard to get into the BIOS, and also to shield me from any exploding capacitors. I don't know if you're going to be able to see any of what's on that screen there, but we're going to try it anyway. God, what a piece of junk. I really don't like that. That seems real slow. Yeah, this fan's spinning on that card, but I'm not getting a display output. Okay, this worked before I got my hands on it. There's a switch down there called Core Unlocker. No, it's not turning on. Oh, there we go. Oh, delete, enter BIOS. Okay, so the CMOS battery's dead. Let's go to the setup. System info. We have a Phenom 2 1090T. This is a 6-core CPU. Hey! That is not bad at all. Oh, ASUS Core Unlocker. Okay, that seems to be some sort of auto overclock thing. Don't need that. I really hate this CPU cooler, but we're going to leave it for now because that's what it's shipped with. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my iOD and we will install Windows 10 because this is new enough to use 10. Besides, then I can install Steam and it'll be real easy to test this thing with games. I want a game on a planar display wall machine. Oh, this is so stupid. Alright, I had to move the graphics card to replace the coin cell, and in doing so I looked at this. It is indeed a GTS 450. Okay, and here's the darndest thing. The screws that they use to keep this in, these are fine thread. Like the kind of screws you'd use with a CD-ROM drive, or an SSD. I don't think I've ever encountered a system that uses fine thread screws to keep the PCI brackets on. So, very weird. Additionally, this system really does look like it was cobbled together. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3 different types of PCI bracket on the back. I mean, the cable management is as good as it's going to be in a system like this, but come on. Look at this thing. Anyway, let's get Windows installed. It's a beautiful day outside. Got all the updates installed. More games installed than usual. I don't have high hopes for the GTS 450. It's not exactly a powerhouse. How does this open? However, I do think that the rest of the system still shows some promise. Why is this so hard to open? This was donated fairly recently by one of our lovely audience members. I believe this was Elmo who donated this. Donated 3 monitors, actually. Now, let's get this out safely. Now, eventually, I do want to make these my personal monitors. These are nice. Oh, these are very nice. I like this. Anyway, for now, just for now, we're going to go ahead and use one of the 3 for this project, and possibly for a few following ones. I've never really had a new monitor, so this is exciting. Now, how does this work? I don't need no instructions. I can see that goes on like so. It's actually surprisingly sturdy, okay. And if this is anything like Dell, this is going to go... There we go. Surprisingly simple. Now, I will say I'm not a huge fan of these Mickey Mouse style plugs, but there's nothing wrong with them. It's just if I lose this, well, I gotta go find a special plug. That's okay, though. We'll be fine. Get my plug strip over here. And we'll get this powered up. Perfect. Now, I was today years old when I found out DVI has provisions to carry audio. I mean, I knew it was compatible with HDMI, but I didn't know it could carry audio. That's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. Get that plugged in. Get this plugged in. And with any luck, we should have a screen. Make sure I'm not missing anything. I do not believe so. Now, let's get our power plugged in. Okay. Last night, while I was installing updates and games, I happened across a video. I think it was Budget Builds Official. He was installing Windows 11 on a hard drive, and he did some tests on it. And I'm sitting here going, "Wait a minute, I've got Windows on a hard drive. Yeah, it'll work, but you're gonna have some weird issues." Speaking of some of the issues I had, really the only issue I had was Steam. After every other game install, I had to restart the computer, because once the game installed, when I went to install the next game, Steam would crash. And if I opened up Steam, it would work fine until I selected a game from my library where Steam would crash again. So I had to restart like 4 or 5 times. I'm not sure if that was because it was on a hard drive, or if maybe Windows updates weren't fully done yet. I don't know. But I wanted to at least mention it. Now, we are going to time how long it takes for the system to go from completely cold off to booted into Windows. So let's go ahead. I think we're on the right. You know what? Let me make sure that we're on the right input first. Okay. Let's go ahead and see how long this takes. Now, we're on a 1 terabyte hard drive. And I'm not sure how many people know about this because... Oh, the fan suddenly sounds like crap. That's new. Is it one of these fans? Yep. I'm not going to fix that right now. I just don't care. I don't know how many people are aware of this because not many people boot off of a hard drive anymore, but the larger your hard drive, the faster it is. So if I had like a 4 or a 6 terabyte hard drive in here, it would physically be faster because there's more data. Let's say you've got your platter and you're going 1/4 of the way around the platter. On this, that track is, let's just say 100 megabytes. On a drive that is 4 times larger, okay, just over a minute. As I was saying, if your hard drive was 4 times larger, that 1/4 would be 400 megabytes. So the larger the hard drive, physically, the faster it reads, if it spins at the same rotation rate. So, not super happy about that fan, but it is what it is. Let's try some games. This is with our GTS 450. Okay. So we're not performing super well. But I mean, it's it's playing the game at almost 20 frames per second. Now to be clear, this game's minimum requirements list a GTX 660, and this is a GTS 450. Where's he going? Okay, goodbye. So the fact that this is playing as it is kind of impressive. I mean, yes, we are only barely in the double digits as far as performance goes, and there is some pretty significant, here we go, lag between when I do something with my mouse and when something actually happens on screen. But I didn't know that this was in the teens. I genuinely thought that this was like 25 to 30 frames per second before I turned on Steam's performance monitor. And it's actually pretty smooth, all things considered. So I am pretty happy with this performance given the level of hardware that we're dealing with. Don't you do it, you bastard. So let's take this win and move on to the next game. Yeah, this is actually designed to work on this sort of hardware, so we should have no problems at all with Borderlands 2. Now I just need to find something to fight. I think there's some skags over here. Yep. Yeah, this is fine. We're locked at 60. What's behind me? Oh. Splat. What else do I have? Oh, what a game. Oh, these bastards. Well, yeah, I could probably play this for hours. We're locked at 60 right now. I seem to remember having issues getting this to unlock the frame rate without crashing, just on any system whatsoever. So we're going to go ahead and take this as a very obvious victory. We all knew this would work fine. And let's move on to the next game. Okay, this one's going to be shorter than the rest because I honestly do not remember the controls, the keyboard controls for Dark Souls 2. But I know that why am I slow walking? There we go. Okay. But we're going to go ahead and at least fight something, Now, this is another game that this is not quite the level of hardware for. Dark Souls 2 calls for a GTX. Oh, why can't I swing? Dark Souls, why does left click block? Anyway, yeah, so this game technically calls for a GTX 465. I went the wrong way. But we have a GTS 450. But we're still getting, about 50 frames per second. So I'd say this is pretty playable. I heavily suspect that this would probably... Yeah, this sucks to try and play with the mouse and keyboard. But this would probably be just fine up until you got to an area where there was a lot of enemies on screen. Let's go back and see how the frame rate tanks when we get to Majula. And that'll be the last thing we do with Dark Souls 2 for a while. Ugh. I'm normally a mouse and keyboard guy, but the Dark Souls franchise is the only time where I go, nope, controller. Give me a controller. Oh, and mine's broken. All right. Still hovering around 50. Yep, there was a bit of a drop down to about 45. This is playable. Next game. Oh no. This is another one that very, very much requires a better graphics card. It's kind of funny. This is technically the same... Oh god, not single digits. Never mind. Yeah, this game, Dark Souls 3, requires a 750 Ti as the minimum graphics card. Oh, no. Let's kill something. Come on. We can do it. The physics are tied to the frame rate. Remember that. Okay, Dark Souls 3. No go. Single digits. Next game. And here we are with Deep Rock Galactic. This is another one just in the hub world. We're seeing on minimum graphics settings around 45 frames per second. I don't know how this is going to do in an actual thing. So let's just pick one and go. We'll do minimum just because I don't know what this is going to do for our performance. And I'd rather not slog through a difficult mission at 5 frames per second. So far, not too bad, though. Again, this is on minimum graphics settings. And yes, this is how long it takes to load on a hard drive. Don't worry, this isn't the only indie game on the list. Actually, this isn't... Can't see anything. Oh. Thank you for dropping me down, ship. This is almost 100 frames per second. Oh, there was a hitch. It says 100 frames per second. Maybe this won't be so bad after all. This is another game. Again, it requires a GTX 660. We are nowhere near that. But I'll take it. That's a solid win. I bet this would be fine even during some of the harder encounters. It's an indie game. I mean, look at the graphics. It's fine. Yeah. Next game. Oh, there we go. That took a hot minute. Yep, sure. Okay, I expected this to be better. I mean, this game's requirements are nothing. It wants like a Core 2 Duo, like E4600, and a GTX 8800. Or sorry, an 8800 GTX. So this is bad. Wow. I can't even get into the game. It's just hard locked. Anyway, this is for the King. It is very much designed to be a multiplayer experience. I was going to play Dirt 3, but unfortunately it requires .NET 3.5, which I have not installed, and I'm still working on getting internet out here in the studio, so... In theory, this game should run flawlessly. But I can't even start the game, so that's a loss. Next game. This is Risk of Rain 2, and apart from taking forever to load because we're on a hard drive, this game requires a GTX 580 according to the minimum requirements. So then again, the recommended requirements require a 680, so I'm kind of hoping that they didn't really do much testing and they just kind of threw some numbers out there, because I mean, honestly, there isn't a whole lot to this game. I actually hit record as it was flying up, the loading was, and it just stopped. Well, that's been there for about 15 minutes. I was curious, so I looked it up, and it turns out this is a known bug on certain types of older hardware. So we're going to go ahead and just... it's not going to work. So, some games worked, some didn't. That's okay, because I've got ideas. I know that this was never really designed to be a gaming computer, but I think it could be, with one single change. Let's move this stuff. Well, yeah, you can go right on the heater. That makes sense. I think that all we have to do, once I find my screwdriver, is take out our delightful GTS 450 and put in this GTX 1070. Now, luckily, I thought ahead, and I pre-downloaded the drivers for the 1070. In theory, all I have to do is install them, and we'll be off to the races. So let's... You know what? I want to get a closer look at this GTS card, because I think I see a white fan, and that's cool. Literally. Oh! It's kind of a cool design. What a clean card. This whole system was fantastically clean. GTS 450, 1 gig GDDR5. Oh, this is PCIe 2.0. That's kind of... okay. I really don't know why they've got this stuff installed in the second PCIe slot. I really don't. But that's what they had. So that's what's going in. Okay. Let's go ahead and install our new drivers and see what happens. I am anticipating a large jump in performance. You know what? I also just noticed that the CPU is connected with a 4-pin and not the 8-pin. On a Phenom 2, that's kind of surprising. In fact, there's a blocker blocking the other 4-pin from being installed. I've never seen that. And that doesn't seem right to me, so we're going to plug in the 8-pin anyway. What a weird system. What a weird system. Got our 8-pin plugged in. Now, normally you don't really want to close the side panel after making major changes like this. But this is a rack mount chassis. I kind of have to. So I just won't screw it shut yet. Get our DVI connected. Monitor back in place. And let's see if we have video. We are posted. I think we're booting into Windows, but we don't have any display. That's okay. Let's take this DVI to HDMI adapter out of the loop, and we'll just use regular HDMI. Because, I mean, the monitor came with one, and someone else sent in a ton of them, so it's not like I'm in any current shortage for HDMI cables. I'll figure it out. Okay, been working on this for a little bit now, and I found out a couple of things. The first one is this 1070 is dead, which kind of sucks because I just bought it. And by just bought it, I mean it is just outside the eBay return window. So, yeah, that's not great. Why are you not coming out? That sucks. Not super happy. I mean, the fan doesn't even spin. So, I don't know. But that's okay, because we recently got these. I believe these are 1070s, maybe 1070 Ti's. Either way, I'm also ignoring the instructions to not install in the top PCIe X16 slot, because I don't think that doesn't make any sense to me. This Asus VGA switch card, it just doesn't make any sense. So we're going to try it anyway and see what happens. Now, I suppose we're going to go ahead and plug in at least one of the monitors. All the ports are in different locations. I suppose I should also plug power into the card itself. Might be useful. Okay. Now, do we get a screen? That would be my preferred outcome, honestly, getting a screen. Now, we haven't heard the post beep yet, so we will give it a moment. There we go. Okay, it was just a bad card. And with that, I'll see you on the desktop. Oh, you're kidding me. I think the 1070 Ti might be dead. Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna take this inside. I'm going to research this VGA switch card and see if maybe there's some really weird specific reason why this system needs it, because this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I'm going to try to get a different driver version for this 1070 Ti, because the one that I downloaded won't actually extract. It gives a 7-zip data error. And the driver that was included on this system for the GTS 450 is technically compatible with the 1070 Ti, but obviously there was an issue there. We'll try it one more time real quick, because I really don't want to have to lug this thing all the way back up to my apartment, 3 flights of stairs, install things, come back down 3 flights of stairs, and waste even more time, because I need to get to O'Reilly's to pick up some parts for my car. I really don't want to waste any more time. I want this video to be over, but I do. That doesn't look like a driver issue. Oh, no. Oh, is that really going to be 2 dead 1070s in a row? Well, Elmo bought us another, so we're going to try the other 1070 real quick. Yeah, we'll keep that off. Oh. If the other 1070 does the exact same thing, then we will install new drivers. But that did not look like a driver issue. That looked like a memory issue. And of course, this is the 1070 that had the bad doohickey shroud. Let's grab this one, which was also sent in by Elmo. Now, these are, I believe, recertified cards, so they should work just fine. I'm not going to screw it on, but we will put this panel on, mostly so we can have something to rest the monitor on. And let's see if we get the same issue. I don't know about this one, folks. I'm kind of hoping that we get the same display corruption, because if we do get the same display corruption, that probably means maybe it is a driver issue, and this other one may not be dead. But I'm not super confident. Is it ever going to post? What's going on there? Oh. Okay, well, the system's not posting with this graphics card installed, but apparently the VGA switch card enables the next X16 slot to run in X16. So if we have a card installed in the main slot, then it doesn't really matter. What is going on? Oh, did I plug in power? I probably didn't plug in power. I didn't plug in power. No wonder it wouldn't post. Okay. Everything else is good. One more try. I'm losing my mind. I just want this to work. Please beep. And it won't post with this card installed. What is going on? These are refurbished cards. They should work just fine. But just for sanity's sake, we'll move it over back to the original slot. We'll get that VGA switch card reinstalled. I really don't think that's the issue, but you never know. That's a no. Which means all of my GTX 1070s are dead. I am going to have to get in touch with Elmo. I'll try these in a different system, but I'm going to have to get in touch with Elmo, I think, and get these returned. That sucks. That sucks a lot. But I have this GTX 970. Whoever built this system did a really weird job of doing it. Because, like, I'm seeing all kinds of evidence of someone who really cared about the build, someone who really did a professional job. We've got zip ties everywhere. Everything's cable managed beautifully. But then we've got like 7 different types of screws for the PCIe slots, 3 different types of these, and one of the screws was wrong. A single screw was completely wrong, and it's just like, how did you mess up that much? Let's get our GPU powered. It requires 2 6-pins. And we'll get our HDMI plugged in. It's in a different location on every friggin' card. I just want to see an image on the screen. Because I am very convinced that all this system needs is a better graphics card, and we'd be off to the races. We have a screen. Okay. Ugh. That's upsetting. Everything else is still installed. We should be good to go. The driver for the GTS 450 that we had installed should be more than compatible with... Why did the monitor turn off? Huh. I must have hit the button on accident. Yeah, I must have hit the button on accident. I'm losing my mind. The driver should be fine. That's what I'm saying. Let's... I just want to play some games. Let's see what it can do. Alright. I suddenly remembered, oh yeah, I've got Snappy Driver Installer. So we're using Snappy to install some updated version of the driver for the 970. And, I mean, it seems to be detected just fine. So with any luck, we'll be gaming in just a moment. And there we go. We're actually doing fantastic with over 60 frames per second sometimes. I think we're going to go ahead and raise the settings a little bit, make this look a little less, well, bad. So let's go ahead. Okay. Not bad at all. We're at the same resolution, 1600 by 900, and we're still getting just about 60 frames per second. I mean, we bumped it up to medium settings. Actually, no, that's high. Well, here we are at high settings, believe it or not. High settings at the same resolution as the GTS 450. And look at that. We're still hitting over 60 frames per second sometimes. That's all it takes. This is a genuinely good gaming experience. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and move on to the next game. Okay, let's see. I'm expecting a solid 60. Oh yeah, locked at 60. Now, unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot I can do to raise the settings or anything like that. This is a Dark Souls game. So, let's find something to get in a fight with. Yes, I'm going to have to do a little running, I think. What is the A button? Is it enter? It's enter. Ugh. Okay, at least with Dark Souls 3, they updated the prompts, because when I go up to something, it prompts me for the button controls. It doesn't actually give me... Here, look, see? A to pull. I don't have an A button. It's the Enter key. I also still have not figured out what the jump button is, so we're gonna not take the shortcut. Still can't believe right-click is swing. Alright, we'll ignore him. Yeah, we're locked at 60. This is a great experience. Let's go ahead and switch to Dark Souls 3. And look at that, immediately better. Right-click is shield as expected. Look at that, we're at... I saw a little hitch there, but we are mostly locked right at 60. I do wish I had my controller, though. Oh, it makes sense now. E is, Wait a minute. They're still prompting me for controller controls. I know Dark Souls 3 is capable of showing the actual keyboard commands. Huh. Anyway, yeah, this is flawless. I expect no problems with this particular graphics card. Let's move on real quick to, I mean, these are gonna play just fine. Let's see if For the King finally starts. And yes, I actually did skip over Borderlands 2, and that's for two reasons. The first one is my microphone is dying and I need to get this finished immediately. And number two, it ran perfectly fine on the GTS 450. We're not going to learn something new about playing it on a 970. Stuck in the same spot. I'm going to let it sit for a minute and see if maybe it starts, but I need to get this video wrapped up before I lose my microphone. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I mean, this is a fantastic system. You got 6 cores, 8 gigs RAM, easily expandable up to 16, potentially 32, and we might explore that in a future video. But that goes to show that even old CPUs can still run mostly modern games, if you count Dark Souls 3 as modern. I think this would do great, even in a modern setting, with the correct graphics card. Disappointing about the 1070s, but I will test those in different systems. Maybe there's some intricacy about this particular motherboard that stops them from working. Oh dear, I just realized I did my entire intro on a dying microphone with the camera still zoomed in on the screen. It is still stuck. I'm not sure what For the King's issue is, but I have to do my exit very quick. Yeah, my microphone is dying very quickly. So I think this goes to show that even an old system like this can be brought back to life with just a simple graphics card upgrade. Pretty sure this board's compatible with up to 32 gigs of RAM. We might try that in the future, but I don't really have any massive plans for this system. Let me know down in the comments below what you would do with this. I'm not entirely sure if the 1070s are all dead or if it's just some weird quirk of this particular motherboard, but I will be testing those, probably not in a YouTube video. That'll be a behind the scenes sort of thing. Speaking of, if you want to see all sorts of behind the scenes content, you can find that on my Patreon, linked down below, where you will also find the address for my P.O. box if you want to send things in to help with videos like this. If you liked this video, a like would be appreciated, and of course you can find all sorts of other content in my video catalog. Subscribe to see more. I don't usually rush my exits like that, but my microphone is dying. And that's still stuck. Thanks for watching.